If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Jim Ziegler, our guest this morning, state auditor, and he's a hometown guy, and he's here in town as an alumnus of Sylacauga High School. Got the big alumni band performance tonight.
Well, that's right. It's a march down memory lane. Us former members of the Sylacauga Aggie $500,000 band will be back, and we'll march in with the band and play the pregame show.
Who was the director when you were in the band there?
Fess Simpkins.
Oh, wow.
We had 75 years of Simpkins band directors. Fess Simpkins, Buddy Simpkins, and David Simpkins. And that's quite a legacy. It's just unmatched anywhere in the United States to have one family, grandfather, father, son.
What instrument you play?
I'm a trumpet player.
Okay. All right. So you'll be on the field tonight, right?
I certainly will. And 3 of the songs are the same. They hadn't changed in 74. Hail to the Varsity, the Alma Mater, and the Star Spangled Banner.
Wow, 3 good ones.
Oh, man, some things don't change. So I remember them.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you in town this morning. Thank you for taking a few minutes this morning to sit down with us here on the show. State Auditor Jim Ziegler. What in the world has been going on in the state of Alabama with these tolls, and you're right smack in the middle of it all?
It is the worst government proposal that I have ever seen, and that covers a lot of ground. It's worse than Obamacare. It's worse than the federal income tax. They were going to put an 8-mile toll on an interstate highway. I didn't know you could toll an interstate.
Is that done in other states?
There are places, yes. Okay. And there's certain loopholes, and we're not sure that this part of I-10 in South Alabama met those loopholes, but there are certain loopholes under which they can toll an interstate. We're still against it. But what they were going to do, they were going to give some outside outfit a 55-year contract.
Wow.
55-year contract to charge tolls to everybody going back and forth.
That's a lot of traffic right there.
Oh, it's a tremendous. We're talking about billions of dollars over the 55-year period of time. This was going to be a sweet deal for somebody. And when we first started 4 months ago, people were telling me, you're wasting your time. This is a done deal. There's nothing you can do about it. They've decided in Montgomery, John Cooper at ALDOT and Governor Ivey and Joe Bonner, her chief of staff, they decided they're going to do this, which in talking with people in Montgomery, that might have been true, but we didn't listen, and we came up with a game plan to fight it, and by the grace of God, we beat it.
All right, Jim, from the outside looking in, a person might say, well, what's the big deal? That's money for Alabama.
It is, but it's money from Alabama. It would extract tens of millions of dollars a year from the people of South Alabama. And it particularly hurt the people that live on one side of Mobile Bay and work on the other. And we're only talking about maybe 15,000 families. Yeah, imagine a family, they live on one side and they have to go to work over that.
Every day?
Yes. And it's an 8.5-mile commute over the bridge, but they've been doing it 40 years with a bridge that our tax money paid for, and it's not a broken bridge. It works. And the discount toll was going to be $1,080 a year. That's if you get the discount and prepay by the month. $1,080 free. That's $90 a month if you prepay. Now, if you take a family, their budget is just barely in balance, and you charge them $1,080 a year per car.
Oh, wow.
ALDOT hardly ever said those words. They just couldn't say per car. That's what it was. We had to dig in to find that out. And you've put them in financial trouble. So we had to block the thing. And they've been looking at 280, Highway 280. They've been looking at 565 in Huntsville. They've been looking at the Northern Beltline around Birmingham. And they were real excited about getting hold of these billions of dollars of outside money and then sticking it to the people on the 55-year toll contracts.
How did you get involved in this?
People started complaining to me about it. They didn't know much. And so I started researching and studying it, and the more I learned about it, the worse that it got. It was a terrible proposal, and 2 weeks ago, we got a favorable vote from the Metropolitan Planning Organization in Baldwin County, which is a necessary step for the project, and the governor killed the project.
There's been some heads to roll over this, too.
I'm not sure about that, but there's some that needs to roll.
I know there's been some changes on boards and stuff of that nature. Who's at the bottom of this?
We don't know. The big three that we hear from are John Cooper of Aldott, the governor, and former Congressman Joe Bonner, who ironically represented that district of Alabama, the first district, the coast area. And those are the main three that we heard from, pushing. Just, they were for the toll, the whole toll, and nothing but the toll.
You've been called everything but Jim Ziegler, including a pot stirrer and a prostitute.
That is some of the nicer things that I've been called in Montgomery. I've been called some things that could not be repeated over the air. And that's okay. When they've come out with these, I call it insinuendos. That's a combination of an insinuation and an innuendo. Every time they come out with some mess, it helps us. It helps our group, our cause. It helps me because people can see through when the liberal media creatively criticize people. The people go the other direction.
So we've had several meetings, and is this project on life support, or is it dead, or what?
Governor said it's dead. She pulled the plug. Now, we don't have a high level of confidence that you can believe what Montgomery tells you. So we're being very vigilant. We're still going to these Metropolitan Planning Organization meetings. There's one coming up next Tuesday, and we'll have people there. So they'll know that we're still there, we're still active, we're going to stay active. Our 55,000 members are staying with us. Also, we're beginning to go statewide. People in other parts of the state have started joining our Facebook group, which is named Block the Mobile Bayway Toll. And we've got people from all over the state. They don't want a toll project coming to their road. So what happens is they come in and promise a real nice road that you may need. And then a few months later, you find out, they're going to put a toll on it. That new gasoline tax that just started September 1st, it was supposed to go for roads and bridges.
Was that 10 cents? Was it 10 cents?
It was. Now, only 6 cents went into effect September 1st, and it'll be 2 more cents next year, and an additional 2 in 2 years from now. So it will end up being 10 cents a gallon. That's a lot of millions, tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Jim Ziegler, state auditor, our guest this morning. And when I first began to see and hear and read and social media about this toll bridge, I thought, well, that's not such a big deal. But if you really look at it, and even people that know nothing about it know something is amiss there.
There is. I could write out a sheet and give it a description of this toll plan and give it to 10 people that knew nothing about it, and I think it'd get a 10-0 vote against the thing. I mean, it's terrible. They're not going to have a toll booth. They're going to let Big Brother have a camera, and they're going to take a picture of your car tag, and you've got to set up where they can automatically withdraw from your bank account once a month. So this outside outfit, possibly a foreign country, will be able to access your bank account and take out however many tolls they say you charged each month.
They can just do that?
Yes, and unfortunately the legislature passed a bill that enables them to do that. And I believe that the legislators did not realize the ramifications, that ALDOT pulled the wool over their eyes. So we may go back in legislative session and see if we can undo this.
I mean, that can open up a whole lot to affect your privacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want to give some outside outfit access to debit my bank account.
Before we go this morning, where do we go with this? What in your mind and the people you've talked to? First of all, have you talked to the three entities, the three people that you mentioned about this at all?
I have had an extensive meeting with Joe Bonner, who's the chief of staff to Governor Ivey, and he, of course, works with them. So I felt like I was meeting with all of them when I met with him. And this was in mid-May. And at that time, he was adamant that they were going ahead with it, but he said, bring back any ideas to fund a bridge without the toll, and I've done that. And they're just not listening yet, but maybe now that we've arisen and we've organized the people and we've beat the thing, maybe they'll listen this time.
Did you think this could happen? Did you really think that, hey, we can still make a difference in Alabama?
I did. When people started telling me early on that it's a done deal, that you're wasting your time, I don't like to hear that. That just, you can always come up with some way to right a wrong, and this was very, very wrong, and 55,000 people down there in those two counties mostly agreed. And we just, every time somebody tell us, you might as well stop, you're wasting your time, it just spurred us on.
All right, so we got a meeting coming up. What do you think is going to be the end result of this?
I believe that ALDOT and the governor's office will come back with a plan B. And if the plan B has no tolls, it comes from existing state and federal money, then it could be all right. Now, if they come back with a smaller toll, or a toll for a shorter period of time than 55 years, we're going to still be against it. We're for no toll. Our gasoline tax is supposed to pay for roads and bridges. And it paid for the existing I-10, the existing Bayway, without a toll. They got infatuated with this new tax of the future. It's called a P3, public-private partnership, where they bring in some billionaire to and give them control of some of our roads and bridges and let them charge a toll. There's too many things wrong with this. This is not capitalism, not at all. This is a crony socialism.
I'm trying to get this in my mind. You got people in South Alabama that are going to be traveling these highways, interstates, and they may not be savvy like I'm not savvy. And for them to find out that a photo of their license tag has been shot and there's money being debited out of their account, that's almost an offense.
It is, and it would be an offense if the legislature hadn't passed two bills, really, that enabled all of this. You couldn't do this, but we need to stop that. Now, a constitutional amendment is coming. Orange Beach, Alabama businessman Dean Young is promoting a constitutional amendment to be considered in February in the regular session. And I read the thing last night. It's just hot off the press. And it would stop this tolling without a vote of the people in the counties affected. And I think there'll be a tremendous support for the Dean Young constitutional amendment for referendum before any toll.
All right, where's your web page, and how can people find out more about this?
The Facebook page is Block the Mobile Bayway Toll, and it is expanding really to block all tolls in Alabama.
I was about to say, it may be coming to a neighborhood near you.
Absolutely.
All right, Jim Ziegler, our guest this morning, state auditor, and he's here in town for the alumni band event. It's Sylacauga and Moody tonight. Kick at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:30. Be looking for the alumni band and be looking for Jim Ziegler, state auditor. He doesn't hide from controversy for sure. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim Dale.
All right, more Daybreak coming up right after this.